Dr. Anthony Fauci has tested positive for COVID-19. The 81-year-old has mild symptoms and is being treated with the antiviral medication Paxlovid. Meanwhile, an FDA panel has given the thumbs up to Moderna and Pfizer's vaccines to be used in children under the age of 5. Meg Oliver has the details.
They may cry.
Today's vote means Laura Holmes' 4-year-old daughter, Catherine, could be vaccinated as early as next week.
I would have signed up yesterday. I would have signed up for a trial if I knew of any near me.
Her older sister, Charlotte, is fully vaccinated, but Catherine is one of nearly 20 million children under the age of 5 who could soon be eligible. Late today, an FDA panel voted to recommend both Moderna's 2-dose vaccine for children under the age of 6 and Pfizer's 3-dose regimen for kids under 5. Each vaccine is a fraction of an adult dose. That's peace of mind for Andrea Pearson.
Where did you get your shot?
Whose 4-year-old took part in the Pfizer trial in Atlanta.
We don't have any family here in Atlanta. It was difficult to feel like they were missing out on her early childhood.
Until now, we've had a whole population of kids who've not been able to be vaccinated, and that's all going to change soon.
Even so, a recent survey found only 1 in 5 parents of children under 5 wants to vaccinate their kids right away. Those 5 to 11 have been eligible since November, but less than 30% are fully vaccinated.
Any concerns about vaccinating your youngest?
Absolutely none.
Holmes' family in Illinois hasn't been on a plane since before the pandemic began.
Tomorrow is my birthday, so that would be a really great birthday present. It's just going to be a real sense of relief and feel like, okay, we've all got now that extra layer of protection.
The vaccine still needs final authorization from the CDC director and a vote to recommend. If that happens over the next few days, pharmacies, hospitals, and clinics could start offering this shot to young kids as early as next week. Matt?
Meg Oliver, thank you. For more, I want to bring in Denis Nash. He is a distinguished professor of epidemiology from the CUNY Graduate School of Public Health. Dr. COVID vaccines were made widely available to adults at the end of 2020 and were fully approved in 2021. So why has it taken so long to approve shots for kids under the age of 5?
Well, this is a difficult and challenging thing for FDA, for manufacturers to find the right dose that is both safe and effective. Of course, with children, safety is an especially big concern. And with a new vaccine, you don't necessarily know what the right dose is to start with. And so I think what we're seeing here is it's taking time to see the right amount of vaccine, the right spacing between vaccines and the right number of vaccines in order to provide the protection that's needed, because FDA requires not only that the vaccine is safe, which these studies have demonstrated, but that they're also effective or efficacious at reducing risk.
So does the COVID-19 impact babies and young children differently than it does for, say, you or I or older adults?
Well, it does appear that the vaccines appear to be a bit more effective in the younger group of kids in this age range from 6 months to 5 years, and probably because their immune systems are a little bit more responsive to the vaccine. But there are, these kids are developing, every year, their immune systems are developing and other parts of their bodies are developing at such fast rates that kids who are 5 are very different from kids who are 6 months old. And this is part of the challenge of getting things right for the vaccines.
Right. As Meg Oliver reported in that piece, a survey found that only 1 in 5 parents want to actually vaccinate their kids right away. So that's a lot of hesitancy, doctor. And why? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that we're facing right now with increasing vaccine uptake is misinformation and disinformation that's out there. So while there's no confusion among the scientific community about the safety and effectiveness of these vaccines, there is a lot of confusion being sowed by the different sources of information that people hear about vaccines. And I think this contributes a lot to hesitancy. And I think in general, there's increased hesitancy around vaccines more broadly in the U.S., and that's probably going on. So separately from this idea of a COVID vaccine, there's a broader level of hesitancy among parents these days when it comes to vaccines, also because of misinformation and disinformation.
But once these vaccines are available for children under the age of 5, what should parents be aware of? I've seen so many questions on social media from moms that I know, should I do it? Should I not do it? What should they be aware of?
Well, the reality is that while severe outcomes like hospitalizations and deaths are rare among young kids who get COVID, there have been nearly 1,000 deaths among children due to COVID in the U.S. So far to date. And this is the reason why vaccine that's effective and safe for this age group is so important. When you have an outcome like severe disease and death, especially, that can be prevented by a vaccine, many parents would want to take that step so that they can protect their kids from having such a bad outcome like that. So I think that's an important thing to remember.
Finally, as a whole, how would you describe the state of the pandemic right now? People are traveling again. Much of the world has reopened. We don't so much see masks anymore on a lot of people. So how should we be thinking about this virus now?
It does seem that the virus is beginning to spread much more rapidly. And at the same time, we're beginning to see less of an effect on severe outcomes like hospitalizations and deaths when we go through surges. This is largely happening because of higher vaccine and booster coverage, and also the fact that many people have now been exposed to the virus. And so this combined sort of hybrid protection of vaccine-induced protection plus infection-induced protection with short spacing between these large surges is I think, providing a lot of protection against the severe outcomes and spikes in hospitalizations and deaths that we've seen all too frequently over the course of the pandemic. Going forward, it really will depend on what kinds of variants come our way and how much space there is between the surges, because immunity can wane and the effectiveness of vaccines can wane over time. And so, it remains to be seen what this pandemic holds going forward. But right now, it seems that we're in a pretty good place.
And that is good. Denis Nash, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.